Hello tubers, so I'm continuing to work on my video on making the microgreens that are for barley and wheatgrass. So this is still barley, but you can do the same procedure with wheatgrass. And I'm making my own tops. To strain it out, I use a very small drill, and then you want to do it fast. I mean, you can use a soldering iron to do this also, but it's going to end up with a bigger hole, and you're going to ruin your soldering iron. So, um, you can also buy these screens various places online. So it allows you to be able to drain the water out without losing your seed, and also lets the air in a little bit while it's being sprouted out. So I made I don't have a dish thing, so I made a piece of hardware cloth to form a bracket to tip these jars in the sink at an angle, and it works rather well, almost too well. But if I want to do more than 3 at a time, I'm going to have to invest it to something else. So it took about 3 days. I thought it was quicker, but it really was 3 days. So this is Friday, and they went into the sink like this on Tuesday. So that's 3 days. They fill up. So this is actually, you don't want it packed full in there. So this is probably about where you want it. So basically I rinse it one more time, and then I put them into the trays, as you can see here in the picture. And this is 1 pound of barley or 1 pound of wheat. If you use something more than that, I think you're just wasting seed. If you do something less, then it's not enough. So essentially the bottom layer of seed is actually the root base or the medium for the top layer to grow into. But the advantage of doing this versus using a medium, such as the coconut cure, is that animals can eat the whole thing, roots and all, versus just allowing them to eat the top. So I think that works out pretty well for what they call the fodder. I just can't really get over the fact that that farmers will feed microgreens to their livestock, but they don't eat it themselves. It's just a funny thing to me. But then again, there are little things that make me funny to me anyway. So you know me, I'm an odd person. So anyway, here I am. I emptied them. I flushed them through and rinsed them and filled them back up again before I pumped it into the trays. Just to give it a final rinse. So here we are with the trays. I'm doing it over the sink, so the water is all going to run out of the tray as you're doing it. So you don't necessarily have to dump out all the water, because the water is going to flow into the tray. And actually it's easier to get it out of the jar if you have water in the jar. As you can see, you have to keep rinsing the jar to get them all out. But then it's just like you're doing all the other microgreens. You spread it all out nice and evenly. 1 pound of seed per tray. With the barley, it's about $1 per pound of seed. If it's the wheatgrass, at the prices that I've found, it's about $5 per tray. So, but the wheatgrass you wouldn't really grow for animals. I mean, you could do it, but you don't have to do it. And the wheatgrass is more for human consumption. So it's just people will pay more for human consumption than they do for their flock. They're usually looking for the cheapest thing they can do. But greens in this type of time of the year when everything is frozen and covered in snow, it certainly is a nice thing to have. So you just keep doing it over and over again until you get all your trays done. So then after you're all done with this, then you bring it over and you stack them up. You put what I'm doing is I'm putting a white tray underneath. You could do is put a drain in the white tray and then have it drain out when you water. It seems like if you leave stagnant water in the white tray for a period of time, it starts to have an aroma to it. So right now I'm just sort of playing around. If I were to start doing this on a regular basis, I think I would put a drain in the bottom of the trays and have them drain into a bucket or something of the sort. But yeah. So here we are. And then put the covers on top. And what this will do is keep moisture in the tray, which is a good thing. And then after you have your trays out, every day you go or twice a day, depending on what you need to do. You pull off the plastic tops and then mist it with water to the point where you probably want to switch over to a watering can when they get this tall. But you can use the spray mister also. I think what best policy is to use as little water as you can to keep them damp, but not so much that you have a ton of water in the tray below. I think that a lot of water in the tray below kind of causes the root mass to rot, and that's not a good thing. So a little bit of water goes a long way, and that's what putting the plastic covers back on does, is that you only need a little water to go through it versus using a lot of water. If you're in a place where it doesn't matter about the floor, you probably could just leave the trays open. Use the slotted trays without a bottom cover, and water it and let it drip out. That might actually be a better way to do it. I could just bring them over to the sink, give them a hose down, let them stop dripping, and then bring them. Peace for enough for all. Food, water, clothing, healthcare, housing, education. Peaceful enough for all.